Question 1, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Joe Gideon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow is the National Day of Reflection, a Marie Curie-led initiative bringing together communities across the UK to remember family, friends, neighbours and colleagues we have lost. Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking Stoke City Council for supporting my call for a post-box to heaven in Carmountside Cemetery, and on the second anniversary of the tragic death of my constituent, 2-year-old Harper Lee Fanthorpe, who swallowed a button battery, will he thank her courageous mother, Stacey, for leading the campaign to raise awareness of the dangers of button batteries? And will he back my call for legislation to ensure greater product safety?
Well, Mr. Speaker, of course I join my honourable friend in thanking Stoke City Council. I'm very sorry to hear of Harper Lee's tragic case, and my thoughts are with her friends and family, and particularly her mother Stacey. And we are aware of the concerns about button batteries. The law is very clear that products available in the UK must be safe. The Office for Product and Safety Standards has published guidance on exactly this for manufacturers and is working with the Child Accident Prevention Trust to educate parents and childcare professionals on button.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. Keir Starmer's about to take to his feet. Here he comes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we remember the innocent lives lost 6 years ago in a terror attack on Westminster Bridge. Amongst those tragically killed was PC Keith Palmer, who sacrificed his life to protect others. Police officers up and down the country work tirelessly every day to keep us safe.
Hi, Lefty Bozo.
We thank
Hi, Alexis.
them for that.
Hi, John. Hi, Duke.
But as we saw this week, those brave officers are being let down. Dame Louise Casey found institutional homophobia, misogyny and racism in the Metropolitan Police. I accept those findings in full. Does the Prime Minister?
No.
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I join with the honourable gentleman paying tribute to PC Palmer and indeed all the other police officers who have lost their lives serving and those who do so much to keep us safe. I was appalled, Mr. Speaker, to read the descriptions of the abhorrent cases of officers who have betrayed the public's trust and abused their powers. And let me be clear, it is and was unacceptable and should never have happened. We have taken a series of steps already, and the government will also now work with the Mayor and the Metropolitan Commissioner to ensure that culture, standards and behaviour all improve.
You have no
At the heart of this matter are the people whose lives have been ruined by what has happened. And I know the whole House will agree with me that it is imperative that the Met works hard to regain the trust of the people it is privileged to serve.
Keir Starmer.
I take it from that answer that the Prime Minister does accept the Casey findings in full, including the institutional failures. Because nobody reading the Casey report can be left in any doubt about how serious this is, and doubt for a second that it's restricted to the Met. The report lays bare how those unfit to join the police are aided by patchwork vetting systems that leave the door open. If the government backed Labour's plan for proper mandatory national vetting, we could end the farce that sees different police recruitment standards in different forces.
For a while.
Will he back that plan so we can make speedy progress?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there's no need to back that plan because we're already taking action to tackle the issues that are raised in the Casey report. And it was actually 2 months ago. It was 2 months ago that I met with Dame Louise Casey and the Metropolitan Commissioner, and we introduced a series of measures. For instance, the College of Policing is currently updating the statutory code of practice for police officer vetting that all forces legally have to follow. All police forces are in the process of checking their officers against the Police National Database, and in weeks, Her Majesty's Independent Inspectorate will report back on their re-inspection of all forces vetting procedures.
You check whether
these
they've got a
steps, of
criminal
course, won't
record.
undo the terrible damage that have been previously
basic,
committed, but we owe this action and more to the victims and survivors to ensure that such tragedies never happen. happen again.
Keir Starmer.
Well, the problem with the Prime Minister's answer is
everything.
what he's referring to isn't mandatory. How can it possibly be right to have different standards for recruitment in different police forces?
True.
No wonder the Casey report criticised what she calls the government's hands-off attitude to policing over the last 13 years. But let's call it what it really is, sheer negligence. The report also exposes chronic failures by the police to deal with rape cases, with officers using, and I quote, overstuffed or broken fridges containing the rape kits of victims. On his watch, rape charges are 1.6%. Yet the government still hasn't backed Labour's plan to have proper, high-quality rape and serious sexual offences units in every police force. Why not?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what Louise Casey also says is that primary public accountability of the Met sits with the Mayor of London. She described that relationship between the Mayor and the Met as, in her words, dysfunctional.
You've been defunding the police for years. Why is that relationship dysfunctional? Because the Met is broken and needs to be broken up.
To the House that he will take up these matters with the Labour Mayor of London so that he plays his part. But Mr. Speaker, the way rape victims were treated by the criminal justice system wasn't good enough, and that's why the government published an ambitious rape review action plan. It's right that we've extended Operation Terrier across all
looks
police
like
forces
was a
in the
good
country.
decision, yeah?
We've
Yeah?
tripled
Yeah,
the
can we
number
agree
of
on that?
independent sexual violence advisors. We've improved the process of collecting phone evidence and being cross-examined. And since 2010, we've quadrupled funding for victim support services. That is a Conservative government doing everything we can to support victims and tackle predators.
Gobshites.
People are fed up to the back teeth with a government that never takes responsibility and just tries to blame everyone. They can shout if they're proud of the fact that over 98% of rapists are never put before. If they want to shout about that, that's their record. Let them shout about it. You should be ashamed of yourself. The truth is simple. After 13 years of Tory government, crime is out of control and people are paying the price. Before Christmas, the BBC reported the shocking case of a woman in Armthorpe who'd been beaten with a baseball bat by burglars 3 years ago. Nobody had been charged with that burglary and she couldn't sleep at night. Under their watch, tragically, that's not an unusual case. So can the Prime Minister tell us what's the charge rate for theft and burglary across the country?
Come on.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, actually, since 2019, neighbourhood crime is down by 25%.
What?
But he asked
shit up
about what's happening with rape cases. So let me just tell him that we are on track to meet our target of doubling the number of rape cases that are reaching our courts. Since the Rape Review Action Plan was published, we've seen police referrals double. We've seen charges double. And last year, there was a 65% increase in rape convictions. But importantly, we also changed the law to ensure that rapists would spend more time in prison.
Oh, that's put them off, hasn't it?
But what did his shadow policing minister say?
That might actually stand trial.
Prison doesn't prevent crime. It tells you everything that you need to know about the Labour Party.
Crime.
You can't trust
Fighting
them to
poverty
keep Britain
prevents
safe.
crime. Allowing women to have reproductive rights reduces
the Prime Minister
crime.
stands there and pretends that everything's fine. He's so totally out of
law
touch.
and order is a good way to reduce crime.
He needs to get out of Westminster, get out of Kensington, and Mr. Speaker, I don't think...
It's a big day today in the House, and it's a very important day. We do want to make progress. Holding us up is not advantageous to any of us.
Mr. Speaker, he needs to get out of Westminster, get out of Kensington, and I don't mean to Malibu, to the streets of Britain. Go there and tell people it's all fine and see what reaction he gets. The answer he didn't want to give, although he knows it, is 4% of cases. 4% of burglary charges are charged. 96% of theft and burglary cases not even going before the courts. Burglars twice as likely to get away with it now as they were a decade ago. They should be ashamed of that record.
Yeah, should be ashamed, but they're not. They're proud of it because they're scum.
Has apparently seen 10 burglaries in 18 months, but only one of them has resulted in a prosecution.
Wow.
So rather than boasting and blaming others, why doesn't he tell the country when he's going to get the theft and burglary charge rate back to where it was before they wrecked policing?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me say North Yorkshire is a lot further away than North London.
If you ever go to a constituency. Parachuted in. Parachuted in.
Can I say, I like the lines as well, but I prefer to hear them rather than hearing. Come on, Prime Minister. Mister. Now then, we are going to make progress. Mr. Shelbrooke will be buying the teas in the tea room.
Fuck off with your tea! Oh my God! You're such a wanker! Bloody hell! This is Parliament. He's obsessed with fucking tea. Every fucking Prime Minister's questions, Lindsay Hoyle mentions tea. Shut up.
50%.
Puts me off with tea.
Violent crime down 40%. Burglary, the Honourable Gentleman mentioned burglary. Burglary down 56%.
Burglary's down, but the conviction rate has gone through the floor. No, less people are committing crimes. That's actually just a generational thing.
Against greater protections for emergency
there are less serial killers these days as well. Seriously, there are like half the number of serial killers these days. More than, I think it's 25% of what it was in the 80s.
Soft on criminals.
And that's a worldwide phenomenon, by the way. That's not unique to the UK.
The only criminal investigation he's ever been involved in is the one that found him guilty of breaking the law.
Yes! Nice response, Starmer, for once.
I've prosecuted countless rapists. On the Prime Minister, I want tougher...
Hold on. I am determined to hear the questions, whether it's the Leader of the Opposition, the Prime Minister. So I can... Sorry. I think you've got your first customer for tea, Mr.
Oh, fuck off with your tea! Oh my God, these people, they're not real.
No then, just a moment. So please, let's get through and let's just show some respect to both people at dispatch boxes. Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good point.
I've prosecuted countless rapists and I support tougher sentences. But you have to catch the criminals first. And when 98% of rapists are not even being put before the court, that's a massive failure on government. And if he wants to go to Armthorpe, which is in Yorkshire, why doesn't he go to that cul-de-sac when he gets out and about in Yorkshire and ask them about those 10 burglaries that haven't been prosecuted? The reality is, after 13 years of Tory government, they've done nothing on standards. Neighbourhood policing has been shattered, and burglars and rapists walk the streets with impunity. It's the same every week from the Prime Minister, whether it's the cost of living crisis, crime running out of control, or the state of the NHS. Why is his answer always to tell this British people they've never had it so good?
Crime is down. But if you do get burgled, we're not going to catch the people.
The issue the Honourable Gentleman raised, because I said at the time I respected the decision the police reached, and I offered an unreserved apology. But for the avoidance of doubt, Speaker, at the moment that happened, there was a full investigation by a very senior civil servant. The findings of which confirmed that I had no advance knowledge about what had been planned, having arrived early for a meeting.
I was innocent.
But
it wasn't me.
He doesn't need me to tell him that.
It was your boys.
He's probably spoken to the report's author much more frequently than I have.
Bigger boys came. Oh. See, casting aspersions on the impartiality of the civil service there.
Lou. The Prime Minister needs to answer the question. He doesn't need you to... I don't think we need any more. Let's keep it that way. Prime Minister.
What?
Mr. Speaker, we're getting on. We're halving inflation by paying 50%.
Halving inflation? You're the ones who got it up to 10%, you twats. Yeah, we're going to solve all the problems we created. Oh, at least 50% of them.
Can I just say, let's calm Mr. Fabricant, not again. I'm just quite seriously. Today's a very big day. Some important decisions are going to be taken.
I am going to be here all afternoon,
so
by the way.
I want to get this house moving on.
Strap in, people.
Mr.
At least I
Speaker,
don't have to do the whole thing in a
we're also
stupid fucking
cutting
pirate
NHS
voice.
waiting lists by resolving pay
What?
disputes and getting doctors back to
What? Waiting
work.
lists
Mr.
are longer than they've
Speaker,
ever
we're
been in
stopping the
NHS
vote for the new
history.
bill to tackle illegal migration. That's a
No,
Conservative
illegal
government
migration. Sorry,
delivering on the
legal
people's
migration.
priority.
Migration. People coming to this country has gone through the fucking roof since you cunts came in. There were no people coming across on boats before 2018. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. Nada.
Can I thank my honourable
Oh,
friend, the
fuck
Prime
off,
Minister, for the
Mumby
efforts
Croft.
he has
She
made
looks like a
to
Mumby
support
Croft,
the
doesn't she?
UK's steel industry.
Scunthorpe. Oh my god.
We remain very concerned
Fucking
about job losses at
Scunthorpe,
British
what a
Steel in
shithole.
Scunthorpe. So will he
Great
today
British shitholes, featuring
reassure my
Skegness,
constituents in North
Scunthorpe,
Lincolnshire that we
and
will
Hull?
never see the end of UK steelmaking
Fuck
under
off,
his
Holly.
watch.
Holly Mumby Croft.
Mr. Speaker, the UK steel industry can have no greater
Can have
champion
loads of
than
money
my
off the
honourable
government
friend.
because it would be really bad.
And I know that this
for
must
the
be a
government
concerning
if it
time for
disappeared.
British Steel employees, and
Well,
we
yeah.
stand ready to work with her to
Work
support them.
with her to do
now, she's
nothing.
right, industrial sectors,
Mumby
including
Croft.
steel,
Holly
have been
Mumby
able
Croft.
to
Could you have a
bid
more
into
conservative
competitive government
fucking
funds
name?
worth £1 billion
Jesus
to help
Christ.
support them to cut emissions and become more energy efficient. And the government's recently announced British Industry Supercharger Fund can help boost competitiveness in UK's key energy-intensive industries, and I look forward to working with her to ensure a thriving steel industry in our United Kingdom.
But if the SNP sing Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to begin by paying tribute to PC Palmer, who so tragically lost his life in defence of this Parliament and indeed what we all stand for, democracy. Mr. Speaker, what worries the Prime Minister most about Brexit right now? Is it the likely 4% hit to UK productivity, or is it 3 former Tory leaders planning to vote down his deal this afternoon?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the Windsor framework. The Windsor framework represents.
Just to help the chamber, just help everybody. I understand it's true, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Windsor framework represents a good deal for the people and families and businesses of Northern Ireland. It restores the balance of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement and ensures Northern Ireland's place in our precious union. But what I would say to him, I was more intrigued to see the words of his own party's president, who just this past week have described his own party as being, in their words, in a tremendous mess.
Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, the reality is that whilst Westminster is once again consumed by the damage being caused by Brexit, the public at home are facing the biggest fall in living standards ever, the highest tax burden since the end of the Second World War, and inflation at 10.4%. When are the Conservative Party, and indeed the Labour Party, going to realise that Brexit can't work?
He's right, you know. It fucking can't.
Mr. Speaker, the actions that this government is taking are ensuring that fully half of most families' energy bills are being supported by this government. We're also making sure that we're delivering for people with the
delivering.
waiting
Said
list.
delivering.
That's
Take a
something that
drink.
We're happy to work with the Scottish Government to learn and share best practice with them
Do you
on.
know
But we're
delivering
also, Mr. Speaker,
is a
delivering
verb,
on the people's
and
number
it means
one
that you're not
priority, which is
actually
to stop the
making
boats
something
and end
happen.
illegal migration.
It's just like you're on your way to making it happen, maybe.
Unemployment claimant rate has been
claim to be-
over the last decade.
claim to be
But there are
delivering
still
anything.
vacancies to fill as the Pacific
Oh,
Rim
Jesus,
develops.
look at this
On
guy.
Monday,
Oh, my
the
God.
Minister and I visited Arnold Job Centre, where Kelsey and her team are welcoming
Bloody
local
hell.
employees to speak directly to job seekers. And a
Beaker
dedicated,
lives.
50-plus work coach.
It's like,
is getting
you know,
more
in
from that
AI
package
now,
into
where
work. So
like
with
Mid-Journey
my
and stuff, where
Arsenal
people
friend
type
joining
in,
congratulating the staff
make
at Arnold
Beaker
and other
out of
job
the
centres
Muppets
on the
into a real
proactive work they're
person.
doing. And and when time allows, would it come to visit Arnold Job Centre in person, see the great work they're doing?
Well, can I thank my honourable friend and join him in thanking all the staff at Arnold Job Centre for their hard work. I shall keep his kind invitation to visit in mind. He mentioned the over 50s, and he mentioned the over 50s, or as my right honourable friend the Chancellor described them, are more experienced workers, and he was right to focus on them, because together with the Work and Pension Secretary, we are putting in place a range of measures to help support them to return to and stay in the labour market, and that is something that not only will help us continue to bring inflation down, but will support those people to have healthy, productive, fulfilling lives.
Yes, Professor Honeydew. Indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The UK government recently confirmed that Scotland generated and sent south 35 billion kilowatt hours of energy in 2021. Oh, wow. That number will rise to 124 billion in less than 8 years' time. For this multi-billion pound bounty, Scotland will see no revenue, no manufacturing or supply chain jobs. In our land of energy plenty, why should our people be cold and hungry and businesses failing as a result of his government's robbery? So what has the Prime Minister to say in defence of this naked exploitation of Scotland's people and its resources?
Mr. Speaker, actually, this government is a strong supporter of Scotland's North Sea oil and gas.
Oh, well, that's where you're wrong, sir, because I actually do the opposite of what you just said.
To prohibit any new exploration of fossil fuels in the North Sea, which would have us then pay billions of pounds to foreign energy companies and then
we can make our own energy, you twat. We can make our own energy if you're a cunt of a party would allow us to. Well, you've put a moratorium on onshore wind farms because you're a cunt. You're a cunt. All your mates are cunts. Everyone you know is a cunt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The island has been getting a better deal in recent years, and I thank the Prime Minister for that, especially before he was a Prime Minister, when he was working with me in different roles when he was in government to make that happen, and I'm grateful. However, the island remains the only sizable island in the UK without a fixed link.
But you stop doing that with your hands.
Separated from the mainland.
Stop it! Stop it, you fucking weirdo!
Funding uplift to support local government services.
What's he doing?
And this
Why does he keep doing this with his fucking
hands? For 50 years.
Fuck off!
All the evidence,
just leave it by your side. Take your hand, put it by your fucking side. Will
the Prime Minister work with me and his ministers?
Is he feeding the fucking pigeons? What the fuck's he doing? I couldn't be arsed listening to any of that shit.
Thank my honourable friend for his continued campaigning on behalf of his constituents. It was a pleasure to spend many happy childhood holidays on the island, and I enjoyed visiting him more recently there as well. The Isle of Wight Council will benefit from a 10% increase in their funding in cash terms for the next financial year.
We should cut it off from the mainland.
An additional £1 million in recognition of the unique circumstances of the island, as my honourable friend points out. But I will ensure that he does get a meeting
Jimmy, not
with
so
the Minister for
cleverly.
Local Government to carry on the
Professor
work that
Honeydew
he and I
does look a bit like
and make
Professor
sure
Honeydew,
that his local constituents get the support that they need.
Rem Stringer.
Mr. Speaker, we now know from the Telegraph's lockdown files that during COVID, at the very heart of government, science wasn't being followed and rational discourse had been abandoned. This had dire consequences for children's education, mortality rates amongst the elderly, the economy and access to the health service. Lessons must be learned, Mr. Speaker, but we can't wait 10 years for the independent inquiry to tell us what we should do next time when the inevitable epidemic arrives. Will the Prime Minister agree to a short-term focused inquiry that can give us recommendations so that we do better next time?
Mr. Speaker, as with any public inquiry, the process and timing of the inquiry stages are for the independent chair to decide. As Baroness Hallett has previously set out, she intends to gather written evidence throughout this year, with public hearings also starting this year. They held a preliminary hearing in February which covered pandemic preparedness and resilience, and they've set out dates for preliminary hearings into core political and administrative decision-making across the UK throughout this month. But most importantly, the honourable gentleman will recognise it is an independent inquiry, and it's for the independent chair to set the terms.
Jerome May.
Mr. Speaker, more than 1.5 million people living outside London stand to be impacted by the Mayor's new London-wide ultra-low emission zone. Labour and the Liberal Democrats, they're all for the ULEZ charge. They don't care about the cost of living crisis.
What?
So does my right honourable friend agree with me that the best way to protect commuters
the only
and
people who've
small
got
businesses
cars
from the
in
spread of this
London are rich,
unfair
mate. End of.
£12.50 a day tax is to vote Conservative on May the 4th?
It's not every day, is it?
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is absolutely right.
Does that make me look more intelligent than
I think he also failed to mention that just this week we've seen Labour in Wales introduce more plans for further road charging as well, increasing cost pressures for public and businesses.
How about put more money into public
fucking
transport?
Not
bad.
For the public
London's got great public transport. I'm not having anyone belly aching about having to pay to drive a fucking car. You should have to pay to drive a car.
When my wee brother was diagnosed with ulcerative
if you need to do it for your
colitis 8
job,
years ago, it's fair to say it turned
you're
our lives
working,
upside down.
put
I'm
the
incredibly
fucking
proud of
price
the man he
onto
is
the
and all that he's
customer.
achieved whilst living with this life-limiting condition. And my Livingston constituent, Stephen Sharp, manages local football team the Fulshay in Stonyburn. He has Crohn's disease and he lives with a stoma. And he's like many of our constituents up and down the UK, living with a life-limiting condition, trying to provide for their families whilst holding down jobs with a condition and disease that wreaks havoc on their body. So, Mr. Speaker, given 1 in 4 people wait more than a year for diagnosis, will the Prime Minister and indeed the House support the campaign to cut the crap and get diagnosed early for Crohn's and colitis? And would he meet with my constituent Stephen and I to look at what more can be done for awareness, research and funding?
Can I thank the honourable lady for her question and pay tribute to, I think, her brother and also Stephen for everything that they're doing to raise awareness of this issue. I'd be very happy to meet with her and Stephen. It is something that I am familiar with, and it is a very difficult condition for people to live with, and it's right that they get the support and attention that they deserve, and I look forward to that discussion with her.
Sir Jeremy Wright.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My constituent Jamie Scott spent 4 weeks in a coma and remains seriously disabled as a result of a COVID vaccination. He and his family continue to believe that mass vaccination is the right policy, but it must also surely be right to ensure that that tiny minority who are seriously injured as a result are properly compensated. In the absence of court cases, it's in no one's interests to litigate. The current limit on compensation is £120,000, even for very serious and lifelong injury.
More than that
and anyone who is disabled by less than 60% gets nothing at all. That cannot be right. Will my right honourable friend look urgently at changing it?
Mr. Speaker, it is important to start by recognising the importance of vaccines in protecting us all, and not least the fantastic rollout of the COVID vaccines across the UK. But I am very sorry to hear about the case that my right honourable friend raises. In the extremely rare case of a potential injury from a vaccine covered by the scheme, a one-off payment
£50 for the
can
day,
be
thank you.
awarded.
Thanks.
This is not designed to be a compensation scheme, and it does not prevent the injured person in pursuing a legal compensation claim with the vaccine manufacturer. We are taking steps to reform vaccine damage payment schemes by modernising the operations and providing more timely outcomes. But of course, I'll be happy to talk to the honourable gentleman further about it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The new inflation stats this morning show food inflation is at 18%, the highest in 45 years.
Wow.
Millions are living in food and fuel poverty because of this government's
maybe
failures and political decisions to enable grotesque profiteering at the expense of our communities. How on earth can the Prime Minister claim his plan is working, or is it in his eyes? Is it a success that so many people are struggling with their weekly food shop?
Mr. Speaker, the figures that have been recently published showed that since 2010, there are 2 million fewer people living in poverty, thanks to the actions of this and previous Conservative governments.
What? There's more people living in poverty.
Wants to see people
There's more children living in poverty than at any time in my
so
fucking lifetime.
We
Thanks to you,
stick to our
gobshites.
economic plan, and as the OBR have said, we are on track to halve inflation by the end of this year. That is the most important thing we can do to ease the burden on people. And in the meantime, we have a range of programmes, whether that's free school meals or indeed the holiday activities and food programme, to provide support to the most vulnerable families who need our help.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 60 million to improve transport links from Wednesbury to the rest of Black Country, 4 million for Wednesbury High Street, and last week, the most important part of the budget, the £22.5 million to level up Tipton Town Centre. Mr. Speaker, this government has put a vote of confidence in my communities, one they've not had for nearly 50 years. Can I ask delivery is going to be absolutely key on these projects, because he can ensure, using his good office, that we absolutely get this delivered on time and realise the potential of my communities in Tipton and Wednesbury.
Wanker.
Well, can I pay tribute to my honourable friend for his tireless campaigning on behalf of his local communities? I'm delighted that we are investing across the West Midlands, but particularly
you just want
in
to
places
fucking
like Wednesbury and
invest in
Tipton.
Tunbridge
And
fucking
again,
Wells,
we will work with him to ensure
well,
that those
we've
investments
taken money
are
away from
indeed
inner
delivered,
cities and
working
given it
with
to
the
the
local
posh people,
councils, Transport for
having a
West Midlands
picnic under a
and the West
spreading oak
Midland
tree.
Combined Authority. Those investments are going to transform
Gobshite.
people's lives and spread opportunity in his area, and he deserves enormous credit for making that happen.
Yeah, ma'ams.
Very grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Have
Mr.
your
Speaker,
pom-poms.
households in Gateshead have seen their energy bills triple over the last 2 years. They've endured not just the energy unit price increase, but the daily electricity standing charges increase from an average of 22 pence in 2019 to 58 pence from next month. An increase of 155% in standing charges, over £200 per year. To many of my constituents, particularly those in low-income households, this seems like a company tax just for having the temerity to be connected to the network. And these schemes will continue long after
relies on
energy
income
support
rather than
schemes
inherited
have ended.
wealth in this
So will
country
the Prime
is
Minister
fucked.
commit to ending the regressive increases in standing charges and instruct Ofgem to return them to 2019 levels or even end them completely?
Mr. Speaker, thanks to the
We are
Chancellor, the
delivering the
government is
delivery
providing
that we are
support to a
delivering. We're
typical
going to deliver
household
the
energy
delivery
bill,
and then it will be
around
delivered.
half of that bill over the winter, support that was extended in the budget and will be worth £1,500 to a typical family. But we went further, Mr. Speaker, for those most vulnerable families, as the Chancellor announced, we will be ending the discrepancy between unit charges for those on prepayment meters, something that many in this House have called for, and also providing generous cost of living payments worth £900 to the most vulnerable families.
Martin Vickers.
Get to an art opening today, darling. Free wine.
Mr. Speaker, two of my constituents, George and Carol Ellis, are my guests here in the gallery today. Sadly, in 2021, their son died by suicide. George was a member of the Yorkshire Regiment and had become depressed following one of his comrades who had taken his own life. In memory of George, Adrian and Carol have set up a support group which marries up one veteran with another who is able to talk through and hopefully help them. The support group is called Get Emotions Out, after George. Would the Prime Minister join me in offering condolences to Adrian and Carol and also his support for the work that they're now doing?
Can I join my honourable friend in sending my and the whole House's condolences to George's friends and family, and thank his parents for the brave work they are doing to raise awareness of veterans' mental health. Support is available for anyone experiencing suicidal thoughts, including from the Samaritans helpline. And thanks to the excellent work of our honourable friend, the Veterans Minister, we are working specifically to support veterans' mental health through Op Courage, which is a bespoke mental health and wellbeing service for veterans in the NHS, backed by considerable funding, which was increased in the recent budget. And that fully integrated service will be launched next month. But again, I pay tribute to George's parents for all the incredible work that they are doing.
Alison through this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Mariam Amiri, came to the UK from Afghanistan on a spousal visa back in 2016. The Home Office have just refused her renewal and advised she should return to Afghanistan. Mariam is an educator, due to start a university course in September. She's a valued community activist. She's a vocal opponent of the Taliban. She is married to a man who worked for British forces, and her family is currently being persecuted in Afghanistan. She's been trying to get them here since Afghanistan fell. Can the Prime Minister think of any barriers or hardships Mariam might face in returning to a country where there's not even any means of applying for a visa? And will he personally intervene, as the Immigration Minister is yet to reply to me, despite raising this 3 weeks ago?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, obviously it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment on an individual's visa case, but I will ensure
What you say is, I will sort that out.
From the Home Office
I will
with
sort
regard
that
to
out.
that particular case.
Why would it be inappropriate? You just say, oh yeah, that sounds awful, I'll sort that shit out. If what you say is true, I'll sort that shit out.
And congratulate my constituent, Max
Fucking
Woozy,
hell.
best known as the boy in the tent, whose 3-year adventure
Selene
camping
Saxby.
outside is drawing to a close. To date,
Selene,
he has
who
raised
calls
over
the fucking
£750,000
kid Selene?
for the excellent North Devon Hospice, and will my right honourable friend wish everyone taking
Hello,
part in his final
I'm
adventure,
Selene
a camping festival at Broomhill
Saxby.
Estate, great success.
Well, can I join my honourable friend in paying tribute to Max and everyone else taking part in this fantastic initiative and congratulate them on raising such a considerable sum of money for a very worthy local cause, and I look forward to hearing how the rest of it goes, but very well done.
Final question, Alan Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While the Treasury receives an additional £65 billion revenue from Scotland's oil and gas, they've only allocated $20 billion for carbon capture, but nothing for Scotland. They've cut the renewable energy budget by a third. They've only allocated £10 million for Scotland's world-leading tidal stream and failed to back pump storage hydro. But yet they want us to contribute our share towards the £35 billion Sizewell C nuclear power station. Isn't it the case that within the Union, Scotland is the energy, but Westminster takes the powers?
Mr. Speaker, not only are we supporting Scotland's North Sea oil and gas industry, we're also
Stop
providing
going about fucking dirty fuel, you dirty
funding
cunt.
for further carbon
We're
capture
going about fucking
and
dirty
storage and
fucking
does
fuel.
want to work
I
on
love dirty
clarity
fuel. Let's keep
for
destroying the
regarding
planet
our
so there's
future path,
nothing
but
left to
also
live on in
your
the future.
gentleman raised the issue of tidal power.
Fucking
And I
arsehole.
am pleased to tell him that actually that is now included in the contracts for difference allocations, and there's 40 megawatts of new tidal stream power by 4 projects across Scotland and Wales in the last year. That's this government delivering energy security across the United Kingdom.
The same government that has banned onshore wind farms. So they've just cut the sound there, which means that the questions are over. So we're gonna leave this in a moment. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit before I scoot off. I do have a little bit to do. If I just, I'm just going to make myself big. God, I'm such a child. There we go. Sorry. It's really hard to try and sort shit out while you've got someone rabbiting in your ear. Right. Shut up. Right. Okay, I can turn that off now. Go away, you fucking arsehole. Right. Hello. Welcome. It is Wednesday, the 22nd of March 2023. Welcome to Not Safe for Work PMQs with me, Graham Hughes. Not sure how much longer I can do these things because I'm thinking of launching Labour Social next week, and tonight I'm also launching Ben and Graham Show You Their Big Movie Listicles. Yeah, that's really what it's called. In fact, I might be able to show you a little clip that I've put together. If this works, will this work? I don't fucking know if this will work. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just fucking around with my program here. I'm going to be back at 2:00, so whatever happens, don't worry, I will be back at 2. I might head over to the Discord server for a little bit if anyone's around, but I do have to do a bit of work between now and 2:00. It's a lovely day, actually, outside, although it is still freezing. I don't think winter's got the memo to fuck off yet. As soon as... I would like to go out. I would like to go out for a walk before I have to put up with 2 hours of Boris Johnson lying his fucking head off like the absolute fucking clanging gobshite that he is. And he is. Let's not beat around the bush. The man is a fucking gobshite. Every single metric of being a gobshite, he is truly truly a gobshite. He's the gobshite's gobshite. He is Boris Johnson, the liar's liar, the man who lied to the Queen, the man who lied to his wives, the man who lied to his mistresses, the man who lied to the leader of his parties, the man who lied to the prime ministers of his parties, the man who just basically lies as easily as he breathes. He tells 10 lies before he wakes up in the morning, before he has his Cocoa Pops. He is just one of the worst human beings ever imagined on this planet. He looks like a slightly inebriated honey monster. I fucking hate him, and I hope bad things happen to him. I hope one day he wakes up unalived, and it's incredibly not painful. Not painful. Anyway, yes, indeed. But I'm just going to show you my. Let's have a look. So this is coming. I don't even know what's going to happen if I do this. Is this going to let me play this? Is it? What's going to happen? What is going to happen? Media source. Okay. It says media source, but it's not appearing. That's kind of annoying. Don't know what I'm supposed to do about this. Why aren't you playing media source? I shouldn't do this live, should I? I should set it up in advance. Oh, here we go. Right, so this is me and Ben Chambers. Later today, we're launching the first episode of our new podcast, which is going to be running for at least the next 10 weeks. Which is this. I'll just play. Oh no, there's no music. Where's the music? Why is there no music? God damn it. Well, that sucks, doesn't it? Properties. Why are you not giving me music? Why is there no music? Why? Just play the bloody speed local file loop. I want music. Man. Oh, okay. Right. I'm just going to turn that off because that is not working the way I wanted it to. You bastard. You absolute bastard. As Eddie or Richie would say. In bottom, I've got an idea. How I can actually do this. Yes, I will do it this way instead. I think that the media source is just for like background animations and stuff, and it doesn't come with sound attached to it. So that won't work doing it that way. But there might possibly be another way of getting around this. Right, okay. This isn't worth waiting. Honestly, I feel bad now because I've made you wait to see this little clip, and you're going to watch it and you're going to be like, why the fuck did Graham make us sit and wait for that fucking clip to start, the wanker? But yeah, sorry. I apologise. Let's have a look. That'll do. Yes. Let's do this and then do that. Haha, right. Might have sussed it. I may well have sussed it. Yo, right, here we go. This is what's coming your way very soon. I hope you'll be able to hear this. After all that, go. Fuck, it broke. Why did you stop, you bastard?
Ben and Graham show you their big movie listicles.
Right. Technology hates me. Right, there you go. That didn't work, did it? I'm just going to go off now and just cry myself to fucking death. I need better tech. I blame the Tories. It's definitely the Tories' fault. Right, we've got 100 messages. That's good. We could hear it, but we can hear it. Oh, shit. Sorry, you could hear it, but I couldn't. Oh, fuck. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, sorry. Well, there you go. You saw it. Oh, motherfucker. So, basically, if I do this, you can hear it. Because I
Ben and Graham show you their big movie listicles.
Show right there. Great, Ben and Graham show you their big movie listicles. That would have been so much better if I'd actually prepped that properly, wouldn't it? Right. Okay, I'm going to go away and do some graphics. Atom, is that you? Time to get some building done in Minecraft. Yep, we can hear. Oh, cool. When I say music, it's more like you going ba 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 ba. It's not music. It's just me and Ben going ba 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 ba. Anyway, so I've got a little clip. I've got to clip up a little bit of that, and I've got to design the thumbnail, which is probably going to take me about an hour. So I'm going to fuck off now. Thank you very much for joining me for Not Safe for Work Prime Minister's Questions. It was a bit of a boring one today, I feel. I mean, I do feel like very much that we're going around in a bit of a treadmill. And, yeah, we're just seeing the same thing week in, week out, whatever. It's kind of painful. So I genuinely might not actually do Not Safe for Work PMQs again after this, because if I do launch Labour Social next week, then it's probably a bit inappropriate to be dropping C-bombs and F-bombs all over the shop when I'm supposed to be, I don't know, it's somewhat connected with the Labour Party and doing things properly, etc. I think I'd call it fuck business instead, because that's what our Prime Minister said. The Snowflake Show, the roasting of Pig Boris. Just realised I'm not logged in as Lee Corn. What the fuck? Yeah, you're in as the Snowflake Show, Lee. I thought that was just a dig at me. Bloody snowflakes. But you brought us a lot of snowflakes together. What'd you get? A fucking avalanche. Yeah. Right, okay. I'll see you in about an hour and 13 minutes for Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. Oh, God, that sounds really good to say. Disgraced former Prime Minister Boris Johnson being grilled alive. That's what we're coming back for. So if you want to watch him squirm as much as I do, please join us for that. I hate the sound of his voice. I hate his face. I might talk over it a lot. I might make jokes and not take it particularly seriously and respond to your comments instead. But yeah, so in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my wonderful patrons out there, my wonderful YouTube members, and everyone who dropped in the super chat, especially Richard there who dropped in 50 quid. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Towards my heating bill, I'm sure. And yeah, until next time, well, no, until about an hour, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.